Let's talk about PvP. The Dragon Ball Legends 5th anniversary was easily one of, if not, the best celebration we have ever experienced throughout the 5 years that the game has been alive. But there's also a downside with all of that, and that is the powerful units that came from the anniversary, specifically Goku and Frieza and Ultra Vegito Blue. Now again, it's really cool that those characters are in the game. However, there is an issue that came alongside that, and that is the lack of diversity for teams that we see online. Now, primarily, when you hop online, you're going to see a variation of either Vegito Blue paired with an Endurance unit, or Vegito Blue paired with Goku and Frieza. Or it's Goku and Frieza paired with an Endurance unit, or whatever the case may be. It's not really the best experience online, because after a certain point, it becomes tiresome. But that is kind of the nature of gacha games. I mean, the entire premise of the 5th anniversary is to be able to celebrate the game lasting as long as it did. And because of that, they're going to be releasing very powerful units. Granted, remember when Goku and Frieza first launched, they were good, but they were nowhere near as good as they are now, because they updated that unit, I think like a few weeks after their release, to buff them to make them more of an anniversary tier unit, if you guys get where I'm coming from. Like, there was a lot more restrictions on that unit when they released in comparison to now when they patched that unit. But remember, that was a very special one-time exception. So they're more than likely never going to do that again. But still, that unit was powerful when they released, and now they're even more so when they got patched. And then, of course, Ultra Vegito Blue was just powerful in general, and still is to this very day. Now, the anniversary itself was fine. Again, probably the greatest celebration that we had in the history of Dragon Ball Legends. But the reason why it's even more so of an issue now is not only because of a lack of team diversity, because it's primarily just Ultra Vegito Blue and Goku and Frieza being paired up with a blue Endurance unit, but it's also what they did with PvP. Now, the PvP mode has experienced a ton of changes throughout the 5 years that the game has been alive. But I would say that as of right now, the current state of PvP is probably one of the worst states that it's been in. Again, one reason is because of the lack of team diversity, because you're primarily just going to be seeing Ultra Vegito Blue and Tag Goku and Frieza. But I would say right now, the biggest issue is the skill-based matchmaking that they implemented into PvP. Now, do I believe that there is a place for that? Absolutely. But how it is right now is not optimal, and I'll explain. So, of course, depending on your battle rank would usually determine who you get paired up against. And again, you could fight anybody, like, for example, if you're like battle rank 60, right? You can fight somebody that's at battle rank 65. You can fight somebody at battle rank 64. On rare occasions, you can fight somebody at battle rank 70. But there's a bit of diversity. You get like a huge pool of people that you're able to fight against. The thing with skill-based matchmaking is it doesn't matter where you're placed. Well, okay, up to a certain extent. Like, if you're below battle rank 50, that's a completely different story. But battle rank 50 and up, you're pretty much going to be fighting players as if you're in battle rank 70 the entire time. And most people in those upper ranks only use meta teams. And what's the main meta team right now? Ultra Vegito Blue paired with Goku and Frieza and a blue Endurance unit. And again, that team is exponentially dominant. Like, it's bar none. Like, that is the definitive team in the game. I'm not saying that there aren't ways for, you know, people to get around that team and whatnot, but if you want to pretty much win, that's the team. Ultra Vegito Blue, Goku and Frieza, and just one of 3 blue Endurance units. Zamasu, Trunks, like the Zenkai Trunks, and for some reason my brain died, so I can't remember the other one. But all in all, though, there's just no diversity. So adding skill-based matchmaking with all that creates a massive issue, because personally speaking, as a content creator, when it comes down to trying to show off like free-to-play units, sometimes units that may just release when PvP gets reset, it becomes extremely difficult as a content creator to make that content, because with the state of PvP, if you're not using that meta team, then you're probably going to lose a majority of your matches. And again, I know that doesn't apply to everybody, but for a lot of people, that seems to be the case because a lot of the top players are using said team. So I would say there's nothing we can really do in terms of the team diversity unless they make a unit so much better than Vegito and Goku and Frieza. But they can do something about the skill-based matchmaking. Now, I said earlier that I believe there is a place for skill-based matchmaking, and I believe that spot would be if you're in the top 1,000. I think at that point, it makes a lot more sense, because if you've grinded all the way up to the top, then of course at that point you're wanting to fight players who are at that level. So it makes sense for it to be like implemented for the top 1,000, but everything else below that should just stay like how it was. Apart from them, like if they're gonna like fix the issue with bots, I think they should absolutely do that. But in terms of skill-based matchmaking, I think it's best to keep that at the top 1,000. I think that makes the most sense. But regardless of all of that though, this is a gacha game. And with gacha games, there's never going to be balance in these games. No matter how much we may want to see it, no matter how much we may beg for it, balance will never happen in a gacha game. If that were to happen, they would not be able to sell us on a lot of these units like Ultra Vegito Blue, like Tag Goku and Frieza, and so many others. Because realistically speaking, if Ultra Vegito Blue was, you know, hyped up and he was literally just as good as like a general sparking unit, nobody would get the unit. That's the thing. There's a certain level of expectation that people have, especially when they hype up hype units like Vegito Blue. Just using him as an example. I mean, the same could have been said for Gogeta Blue, Ultra Gogeta Blue specifically. The same could have been said for UI Goku when he released for the 4th anniversary, and so many other examples. It's just the nature of a gacha game is for them to be able to sell us on the, you know, units that they create, and they can't do that by maintaining balance, which is why power creep is also a thing. So it's really unfortunate that this is one of the states that the game will be in, and I don't think that it's necessarily a state that they'll be able to ever fix, just because it's the nature of gacha games. So fighting meta teams like, you know, as of right now, Ultra Vegito Blue, Tag Goku and Frieza, and a blue endurance unit is going to happen. I think it's absolutely inevitable, but the skill-based matchmaking that's forcing us to fight those teams over and over and over again, even after reset happens, is not good. And I think that can absolutely be adjusted, because again, if you make it to the top 1,000, you're putting in the effort to fight teams like that. That makes sense. But for everybody else, it makes sense for us to just fight, like, you know, with the regular pool of players that we would get paired up with, which would also give us the option of having team diversity as well. And then if we manage to get up to the top 1K, then we can deal with skill-based matchmaking. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I think me and plenty of other content creators have already said that we're tired of fighting like the same teams over and over again. And it sucks because I've really been enjoying regen as of late, but you can't really use them because of the meta teams that are, you know, being utilized right now. Again, it's not impossible, but realistically speaking, if you're not using the meta teams, you're not gonna be winning many matches. So I don't know. It's just, I really needed to just sit down and talk to you guys about this, because it's unfortunate that the game is in a state like this, especially after a fantastic celebration, which was the 5th anniversary. I do want to continue playing PvP, and of course I will, but I've been less active on PvP as of late just because of what not only myself, but plenty of other people have been experiencing as well. Again, like just noting some homies, again, Gorsh has talked about this, Ryuden has talked about this. Like, I think we're all like having like a collective agreement that something needs to change. I think we also do need to keep our expectations in check just a little bit, but something needs to change. And also, before I forget, because I don't know if I mentioned this either, but it also doesn't make sense for them to add skill-based matchmaking when, in truth, it's a gacha game, so skill can't be implemented. I'm pretty sure I touched upon that earlier, but I guess just to be safe, it makes no sense to add skill-based matchmaking when this game doesn't require skill. And I say that because I'm not saying, like, you know, people can't be good at the game. If you're good at the game, then of course be good at the game. But there's no balance. If there's no balance, there can't be skill. Because how could you potentially have skill if you're utilizing something that's practically guaranteed to get you the win, right? And again, in the nature of gacha games, skill doesn't really exist. Again, they can sell you something that can give you an overwhelming advantage against your opponents. That's not how skill works. So again, you can be good at the game, that's fine, but skill, in truth, does not exist. And we've seen with how they've been making units for this game and whatnot, that skill is not really like part of the premise of Dragon Ball Legends. Like, and I know I'm not the only person to say that too. Like, again, noting another homie, Gorish has said that on multiple occasions. And I completely agree, because if you can sell us a powerful unit and that gives you like a massive advantage against your opponent, that's not skill. So again, this is a bit of a rant. I'm not like trying to say like I'm done with Dragon Ball Legends or anything of the sort. That's not happening. I still enjoy the game a ton, but I do want them to make some changes to PvP. That's why I'm happy that when they made that PvP change, that was a preseason, and I believe we're still in that preseason. I think the update that's going to be dropping, I'm pretty sure it's either at reset or tomorrow at reset. I'm hoping that that's another preseason, and I'm hoping that they take our feedback into consideration, because if this is what we have to experience, I see a lot of people not playing PvP anymore. And I've had a ton of comments saying that they've dropped PvP because of this update specifically ruining the experience for them. And I don't want that to happen for anybody. I want it to be an enjoyable experience for absolutely everybody. But hopefully the devs will listen and they'll make those changes to make it a better experience for everyone. So again, this is a rant video. Wasn't really planning on making this today. I was trying to record a different video, but throughout the midst of recording that video, it's just like all the frustrations I've been feeling for a while now kind of just came out. So I thought it was necessary to make this video for you guys to see. But I do want to know in the comment section below, what are some frustrations that you have with the current, like, I guess, skill-based matchmaking? What are some frustrations that you have with current meta teams, or just frustrations that you have with Dragon Ball Legends in general? Because these type of conversations are important, and it's obviously important for us to have them, so that way we can grow as a community to see this game flourish. So again, any concerns that you may have, let me know in the comment section below. But with that being said, I'm Ndukauba. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.